Hello and welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. There's a lot of stuff that happened this week, so let's get stuck in right away. News number one come out of Luxembourg, and the small country, one of the richest countries over here in Europe, has declared that they're investing up to 1% or 7 million euros into Bitcoin for their wealth fund. With that, ironically, Luxembourg has announced the investment at a very peculiar time because at the same time, Christine Lagarde also made some comments. I will get back to her. But through this investment, the wealth fund with 1% is showing the keen interest. And the main interest behind it was to see how this asset further develops. And who knows, with it being the first European wealth fund and the first major country to actually step up, maybe other countries will follow. And maybe Luxembourg will increase its portfolio position. And speaking of Christine Lagarde, she was the second news this week in an open mic table and round event where a Bitcoiner in the community asked her what she thinks of Bitcoin and if it would be a reserve asset. She casually mentioned that she doesn't see a future where it would happen, to maybe make a little bit of a parody of herself, and that she doesn't see an intrinsic value in Bitcoin. Well, Christine, two things there. First of all, how's the purchasing power of the euro doing? Not that great. And generally your reign as ECB chef. And on the second hand, intrinsic value is always attached to objectivity. What I see as valuable or as important might be different to someone else. Just because that opinion is different doesn't mean that that thing, that object, or in this case, this asset, is not also a good choice. As we've seen in the last few years, and especially since the introduction of the euro, it's been losing purchasing power between 42 and 46%. And I think, safe to say, if Christine wants to further have her job, she should actually consider Bitcoin in the future. Whether that will be, who knows? But for now, it's a fun news item. And lastly, we also need to talk about the strategic Bitcoin reserve in the US because it's been going slow. Since March, when the executive order was issued and signed by Trump, there should have been additional dates where they need to present a way of accumulating Bitcoin. Budget neutral strategy, all of these things we've heard. Yeah, it's been going a bit slow. This week, though, we had a split of two opinions. One opinion was under the impression that it's not going to go forward, it will take a lot of time. Others say that they have inside knowledge where they can guarantee that the reserve will come in the next couple of months. Remains to be seen, but for now, I think it's good news for retail investors and regular Bitcoiners because we can stack more sats before the nation states get in. And with that, we're at the end of This Week in Bitcoin. You know the drill. If you got questions, feedback, or just want to say hello, leave me a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you next week again.